I'm going to suggest that people not only follow their passion, but act on it. Persistence. Do it.
This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good morning, Henrik de Gyor. Ooh, I love how that sounds all Frenchy. Henrik, please tell us, what part of the world are you in right now?
I'm in Bluffton, South Carolina. In the United States.
All right. And which of your talents do you think, if you had to look into it, is responsible for us connecting at this specific time in history?
Oh, that must be the podcasting, since I have 7 shows, 7 different podcasts.
How do you do that, Henrik? How do you have 7 different shows? Please tell us. We'd love to know.
Sure. Well, I created a system to figure out how to do that in bulk, basically, to find a niche topic that people may be interested in, find an audience for it, and then basically find people to interview across the world and interview them just like you do about that niche topic because they have something to say around that niche topic.
Now, from my experience, Henrik, it takes a ton of preparation to show up properly, one, and then there's the entire back-end service, right? So the systemization of everything that's going on, who did you learn that from, that ability to systemize things? And I'm guessing it's not just in the podcasting world. I'm thinking it affects all parts of your life. So who did you learn that from?
Sure. I mean, there's a number of people in the podcasting world. Of course, we're familiar with many of the top podcasters in the country or in the world, for that matter, like John Lee Dumas, Pat Flynn, etc. for podcasting. For other things, I think it's a matter of learning from the best, right? Kind of like how Tim Ferriss tries to do, and understanding what they do to systemize things and to pass on things that don't add value and suck up their time and pass that off to someone that can do it. And you can pay them a fee for that, for a task-based fee. And so I don't have any staff. I just pay people to do tasks that I need them to do and that I've tested so that they can do well. And I give them enough instruction so that they can do that well and to the standard that I'm looking for.
Communication, yeah. Communication is one of your strengths, isn't it?
For sure. Thank you.
Who did you learn that from? Is it someone in the family that had strong communication skills or didn't have it and thus you needed to learn it?
Honestly, I think it's from high school. There was one class, I think that was the most valuable class I took in high school, was it's a speech class. And they taught people how to do public speaking, which I think is a very, very valuable skill, whether you're talking just to a mic during a podcast or to another person that you already know or don't know. So I do a lot of public speaking. I'm actually going to a conference in New York next week. And I think it's important to learn how to speak and how to communicate very clearly with intent so that everyone understands what you're trying to say, regardless of how fast you're saying it. So you can tell I'm originally from the north, not from the south of the United States, hence why I speak so fast.
Yes, I do. So it's intriguing, though, the name of your podcast. Now, was that the first podcast you did, and then you did the others, or did Another DAM, of course, DAM, right? Another DAM Consultancy. Did that come after you named the others?
So the very first thing I started with was actually my blog, which was Another DAM blog, and of course it sounds like exactly the play on words, right. Another DAM, and the DAM stands for Digital Asset Management, which I'm a consultant in. So I started a blog about 11 years ago, and then a year later I started Another DAM podcast. To your point, and then I found that I had enough potential interest to start a consultancy. So I was like, what should I name my consultancy? Well, how about Another DAM Consultancy? So I have Another DAM blog, Another DAM Consultancy, and Another DAM podcast. And then from there were derivative podcasts that I started because I wasn't talking more specifically around very pointed topics like metadata and intellectual property rights and things like that. So I started other podcasts around that.
Aging in Place, Blockchain Billions. What else do we have here? EIR podcast, Rights.tech, tagging.tech. I marvel. Of course, I'll need to get in here and listen to the way these are produced to further comment, because I would love to do that to see how you've expanded yourself.
Thanks.
It's just amazing. Well done in terms of a podcaster to podcaster. Well done. Tell me one other thing you've done consistently over the last 3 years, please.
I think I've read a lot. I've consumed a lot through Audible and through Hoopla, which are two different apps that you can consume books very rapidly. I've actually convinced a lot of people who are hardcore book readers, physical paperback or hardcover books, to use Audible or to use audiobooks to consume books much faster. You may still need to buy the book or download certain PDFs to consume the visual content that's not in words, right? That are maybe graphics, maps, whatever. But I think consuming audiobooks, you can consume one safely within a week or so. Instead of trying to find time that your eyes are available, I find that our ears are far more available than our eyes, because we kind of need to see where we're going. But our ears are available much more of the time when you don't have to focus on something.
How does it make you feel, the amount of information, knowledge, if you would, that you've been digesting?
I think it empowers ourselves to do that and finding the information that we're curious about. I think curiosity is what drives what we're interested in reading or consuming, if you will. What I did notice is people consume content in different ways. People like to either listen, read, or watch, right? Or sometimes a combination of both, of two of those. Some of my podcast audience, because I do transcripts on a lot of my podcasts, they will read my transcript while listening to it. And then that will help them learn English, which is, I guess, helpful for them, right? And I never thought of that, but I share that with podcasters, because that's a very beneficial thing of adding a transcript of what you said, because either you may have not understood what I or someone else said, but then you can read it at your own pace. Does that make sense?
It does. It's a great idea. Amazing audience. Again, you're hearing it live from Another DAM Podcast. Henrik de Gyor. You can check out that at anotherdamnpodcast.com. Is there anywhere else you'd like to point people to, Henrik?
You can check out also my blog, which is it's my name. It's henrikdegyor.com. It's HenrikDegyor.com. And you can find out a lot more about me and find all my podcasts, blogs, and books that I've written, because I'm a consultant, a podcaster, and a writer.
Of course, all clickable in the show notes. Henrik, let's switch gears for a moment now. Let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Henrik, what was your earliest childhood memory?
Earliest childhood memory? I guess it's vacationing with family in Europe. I'm originally from Belgium.
How old do you think you were?
Good question. Probably 10.
Ooh, are there any earlier memories?
Earlier? It's hard to say. And I don't remember my age necessarily at that point in time. But I would say my earliest, probably between 7 and 10.
Okay. So why do you think these memories are so clear?
Probably because the family was bigger and more connected than it was nowadays, with all the devices and electronics and things like that we have today.
Yeah. All right. If we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
I actually don't remember. I only remember the music after, I'd say probably into my high school age.
Did you travel a lot?
Yeah, I traveled extensively through the United States and through Europe.
Okay. Because I've had people on the podcast, and the favorite song at 12, one thing that has been consistent is they're traveling. And it seems as though it's challenging mostly immigrants. So they've migrated, and at that point in time, because of everything that's going on, for some reason, it's hard to focus on a song as to every other thing that's happening in the environment. It's really intriguing.
Sure. Yeah. I actually don't listen to music, full disclosure. I'm music illiterate, to be perfectly honest. That may be a fault of mine. I enjoy music, but I find most of my music either with Shazam, the app, to find the actual song that I'm hearing somewhere, like where I'm walking by and I was like, oh, I like that song. Let me add it to my playlist on Spotify. Or Spotify recommends something to listen.
Because of what you listened before, right?
Right, exactly, yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. So So there's very little music that I listen to. I prefer to listen to audiobooks and to podcasts, other podcasts.
All right, my friend. Well, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this imaginary time machine, right, there's a short form, a declaration form. Yes or no, Henrik, are you ready?
I think so.
Henrik, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
You mean as a mentor, or help me understand?
Yeah, sure. Mentorship, any which way you think is valid to pass on your skills.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll find someone that's intrigued enough to do that with. I think I know of some people that would benefit from it. Yes.
All right. So have you chosen someone already, or do you need to choose someone still?
I think I need to choose someone because I've been mentored for several years at universities, 4 different universities at the same time, and I was mentoring about 100 different people. But I think you're thinking, and correct me if I'm wrong, you might be speaking of more focused, attentive.
Yeah.
I haven't done that yet.
All right.
Yeah.
Are you married?
I am.
Do you have children?
I have a stepchild. Yes.
Do you believe in God?
Not as much.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
How about 3 hours a week?
Probably.
What about screen time, the phone and the computer? More than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Less.
If you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who you are, Henrik de Gyor, what would you say that is?
Persistence.
Love it.
Do it.
Love it. One word followed by activity. Henrik, this has been such a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Can that be anything?
Anything, go for it. Come on, this is your time.
Thank you, Angel. I'm gonna suggest that people not only follow their passion but act on it.
Yeah, it's like persistence, right? Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
He said it. Mm-hmm. It speaks from his inner being, persistence. Go for it. Henrik, this has been such a grand opportunity. My friend, a pleasure I treasure. Thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. This podcast is produced by Pod Edits. Visit podedits.com for professional podcast publishing.